Hi, my name is Helen,
My name is Tom.
and we are with the Library Tar Pits team program, and today we're with Libby from our research team. Hello, how are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you guys?
I'm doing well. So Libby, what is the most interesting and difficult part of your job, and what makes it that way?
Yeah, so with my job at the Tar Pits, I work with microfossils, and I also work with middle and high school students around Los Angeles to help us sort those microfossils, similar to how the volunteers do it in our fossil lab. And so one of the most interesting parts of that is the fact that the students that I work with are really the first people to look at the microfossils and to decide what they are and to categorize them and identify them to either be an animal or a plant or an insect. And so the work that they do, it really is very scientific, and it's really exciting to see the discoveries that they make with the work that they do. And that is also part of the challenge too, because we have to know and be familiar with a lot of what they're finding and a lot of what they're discovering. And so I need to be able to help them through that. And so that's been and I wouldn't say a difficult part of my job, but at least something that I've had to learn a lot about myself, and to take a lot of time to understand the process and the research that's happening at the Tar Pits. So that's probably the most interesting thing.
So are there any specific parts of your research that you find like as you said earlier, interesting or important that you want to talk about?
Well, one of the things with the project that I'm a part of, which is related to studying the food webs at the Tar Pits and who is eating who and who is eating what, is the fact that when we look at the microfossils, that really tells us about the plants and the animals that were living right there, right in that part of what is now Los Angeles. And so a lot of the other animals that have been studied more in the past, like saber-toothed cats and mammoths and all of those guys, they had a range that may have spanned a lot of the western part of the country. And so when they came to the Tar Pits, they obviously had been there because they died there, so we know that. But what we know of them and what we could learn from them really represents a much larger part of the United States than when we look at the microfossils, which are really just so specific to Los Angeles. And so a lot of those species that we find in the microfossils are around today. It's very similar or the same species of plants and animals that are around the city. So we have 50,000 years of evidence for what Los Angeles was like from a plant and animal perspective. So I think that is a really interesting part of the research that we're doing at the Tar Pits.
Cool. So what is your favorite type of animal or paleontological time period to research?
Yeah, so I really enjoy studying the Pleistocene that represents the Tar Pits findings. And my favorite animal is actually probably the lizards that we find, because often we find their jaws, and they're the most adorable microfossil I've ever seen. They're just these kind of little pegs that stick up out of their jaw. Their teeth are these little pegs.
So how do you categorize your finds?
The microfossils that we find are composed of either bones, which represent the birds and the mammals, things like that. So we have a bones category. We also find lots of plants, which are either little bits of leaves or twigs or seeds. And so we have that's a plant category. And then we have the exoskeletons from insects, and that would be another category. We also find shells from mollusks, and that's another one. And then we also put the non-organic material, like the rocks and any bits of asphalt that are still around, in another category. So it really is fossils and non-fossils. And then within the fossils, we break it down in those different categories.
So how did you get started at the Tar Pits?
Yeah, so I started at the Tar Pits about 3 years ago now, and it was to be a part of this food webs project, again, where we're studying who is eating who and what at the Tar Pits. And my background in ecology and with community science really kind of really made this particular project interesting to me, because it fed off of both of those. And even though I didn't have a lot of paleontological training, the fact that I had done some related work with modern organisms and with citizen science or community science activities really made this very interesting to me and fit well with my past experiences.
Cool. Well, thank you for your time. Thank you guys for watching. If you want any more information about the tar pits, you can go to tarpits.org to find more information.
And check out the Teen Takeover event happening May 29th.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.